Namaste, beautiful souls. How's everybody doing today? This is Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. So, what's coming through for us today, guys, is going to be an analysis of Scorpio and Ophiuchus because tomorrow the sun is going to enter the constellation of Scorpio and transit through the stars of Ophiuchus, the Galactic Center, and then on to Sagittarius by December 18th. And the reason this is such an important topic is because today we're being told that the sun is in the sign of Sagittarius, when in fact the two are the exact same thing. So those that are telling you the sun is in the sign of Sagittarius are also pointing to the stars of Scorpio. That's right. They're different. And so what we do on this channel is we talk about what's actually happening in the sky. So hopefully y'all can hear me. Let's see. Who do we got here? We've got Celtic Thistle Psychics. Welcome. Lori is here. Thank you so much. Good to see you. All right. You're snowed in, Celtic Thistle. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. It's temporary though. The last time we got sort of stuck in the house without power, it was icing outside. Yeah, in South Texas. But we we huddled by the fire and just, waited it out, played some cards. It was fine. We cooked a taco on the fire. That was an interesting experiment, but it worked. It got warm. So Diana Allen, hola from Mexico. Hello, thanks for coming. Yeah, so this part of the sky, guys, I don't really have a formal presentation for you. It's been a little difficult since Mercury took its maximum Eastern elongation for me to actually write anything. But I did play with ChatGPT a little bit yesterday and this morning, and I have some beautiful images. So what I thought we would do is stare at the images, and then I would talk to you. So we're going to have sort of a philosophical thought experiment today. We're going to travel back in time to when the Mayans were watching the sky, and we're going to tell ourselves a little story, and we're going to think about the sky a little bit differently. And then I'm going to show you the sky, and I'm going to show you why it is important to understand the stars that the sun is moving through. Because what we're going to experience over the next month is, the season of holidays, the season of fun, the season of parties, the season of overextending ourselves and overprogramming our lives with so much fun and celebration. And while all that's good, while the holidays are good, it's actually the time of year for the holy days, y'all. I mean, I don't know, like when I was a kid, I guess Christmas was awesome. You really didn't have to do a lot of work. You got to take off school. People gave you presents. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And then, as you grew up and then you realized you didn't have a ton of money to buy presents, it just became kind of a nuisance. And then, on top of everything else you were trying to do, it was sometimes a bad time to earn money. So for a while there, I just dreaded the holidays for that very reason. And then, when I got into the field of medicine, like, forget about it. You got to work on the holidays. People still get sick. People burn themselves. People have babies all the time, no matter what day it is or what holiday it is we're supposed to be celebrating. And really the whole time from like Halloween to about New Year's is literally a time of releasing, letting go, purging, and going inward. It's a time of contraction, at least for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. So for those of you that are watching this that are in the Southern Hemisphere, please tell me how your approaching summer solstice feels during these months. I've never been south of the equator, so I can't really speak to it. So I am speaking mostly for our Northern Hemisphere brothers and sisters. So if you are from the Southern down under, please let me know in the comments how this talk actually resonates with you. I'm curious. I don't claim to know everything, but I'm feeling this out from an energetic perspective. So how old were you when Christmas and Thanksgiving and these holiday times became more of a burden rather than a joy? Also add on top of that, when you're a young adult and you're trying to get yourself together and you don't have a lot of money and maybe you have a young family, you get a lot of pressure from your family. Come see us, and you may not live nearby. And so then you have to add traveling on top of all of this joyful celebration that you just don't feel like doing. And what happens is we get so raw and vulnerable emotionally because, when you get around your family, they trigger sort of those deep subconscious wounds. And this is Chiron's season. This is Chiron and Pluto's season. So this is a time for deep healing and deep transformation. And then let's go to a party where people who triggered us when we were children are there. Yay, that sounds like fun. So, not to say that this is a bad time of year at all, or that I don't enjoy my family. It just seems like a weird time of year to put so much celebration. It's almost as if I would rather do it in February and March when, the days are getting warmer and I'm feeling more juicy and excited and I want to go places and do things, rather than when it's getting colder and darker and, we're a little bit more raw and vulnerable. So I thought what I would do is sort of go through the sun through this time frame, maybe towards the end, but I wanted to take you on this philosophical thought experiment. So tell me how you guys are doing. How's everybody feeling? Let's see. All right. Let's see. Hello from Chicago. Actually, my shirt says Chicago. That's so funny, Darius, that you brought that up. Not for any reason. It's just a cool shirt. I like the way it fits, and I wanted to wear black today for the talk. So Dr. Walker's here. Today in my Mayan calendar, it is my youth sign of Jaguar today. Darius asked, does Dr. Danny, does the software that you use work with a Mac? It can, but you have to use Parallels. Macs are such expensive laptops. Like, I don't know how much you spend on yours, but it can easily be a couple of grand or more depending on what kind of MacBook you get. So you love your MacBook and it's really powerful. And it does a lot of amazing things for you, but then you become an astrologer and it doesn't work on your Mac. And so if you have experience with Parallels, it may help, but I think it drags the program, makes it glitch a little bit. So what I did, and if you have the means, if you have a MacBook, then you may have the means to get, a basic PC laptop, because those are in the hundreds of dollars. So I think I got my first one like for $300, with a basic package of memory, and the software runs great on it. Plus I'm mobile with that too. And that's actually what I do my podcasts on. So those are two different options you can do with the software. So let's see, who else is here? Golden Timeline asks, hello, I just purchased the extended version of Prometheus. Do you offer your degree translation PDF for those who purchase? Yeah, I can send it to you. If you want, just send me an email and then I'll send you the spreadsheet. Totally free. Lori says, yeah, the holidays used to get me so down. It's still hard sometimes. 21 with 2 babies and family dynamics and drama. Yeah, all of that. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. Thankfully, being in the medical career, I had a reason to detach myself when, in all honesty, I really just didn't have the energy to, put on the face and go and do that. So it kind of worked out. And it's just what I do now. I don't mind going anywhere and celebrating Christmas any time of the year. I mean, honestly, like if my family wanted to celebrate it in March, I would do that. We don't ever do Thanksgiving on Thursday. We do it the Wednesday before. It just always works out that way. So yeah, we're going to talk about this. All right, we have someone from Sweden, Hank Anahata, and Auki Brower from Friesland. Hello. And Lady Rox is here. She caught it live. Awesome. Very good. How many do we have? We have 20. This is great for a Friday afternoon. This is so exciting. Cool. Well, good. I hope you guys don't mind my bedhead. I just kind of rolled out of bed, hung out in my robe this morning, drank some coffee, talked to my mom, who I think is watching too right now, and worked on some AI images for you guys for your visual enjoyment. So, all right. Let's see. What do I want to start with you guys? You know what? I do have a little outline that I wrote down because this is actually what I'm going to be summarizing today. The findings in this book by John Jenkins. His prediction didn't really come true for the end of the world, for the end of the Mayan calendar, but there's some that suggest that maybe the end date of the Mayan calendar wasn't exactly correct. I think that they were pretty spot on for what they were looking for, and I'm going to show you why. So this should be hopefully very interesting for you. And you don't have to read this whole book, although it is very good. So Maya Cosmogenesis by John Jenkins, even though it's kind of past its, for best if used by date. It's still packed with a lot of good information that we're going to review today. So, okay, cool. Let me see what I wanted to chit chat with you about, because it's important that for you to understand everything that we're going to talk about, that you understand, number one, that we're going to be talking about mostly Northern Hemisphere knowledge. We're going to talk about procession. Okay. The sky is slipping, and I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to show you also, we're going to talk a little bit about why it's imperceptible, why we don't see it. We're going to look at the December solstice. Not only are we going to look at it coming up because of the astrology, but we're also going to look at it from, I think, 4,000 years ago. I want to show you exactly where in the sky the December solstice occurred and why it was important. We're going to talk about the Galactic Center, and we're going to hopefully pull all this together so that you understand that the age that we're in, not just the time of year, but also the age that we're in, is very similar to like a cosmic eclipse. And hopefully by the time we're done talking, you guys will understand that. So, all right, let's get into it. Let me share my screen. Okay. So I want everybody watching right now, anybody that watches later, I want you to imagine yourself in Middle America 4,000 years ago. And it is the winter solstice. So it's December solstice, whatever that day of the year was for them. I don't know Mayan calendars all that well, like to the exact day, but let's just imagine we're this Mayan shaman, and we're sitting on our temple, and this is right before dawn. Okay. So we're looking at the eastern sky. We're looking at the winter December solstice, or whatever day, month that was for them. And you see this amazing picture of the Galactic Center. That's where it is. It's bright enough so that as the sun is rising, which will be the shortest day of the year for them, right before that day. This is basically the last day the sun comes up in its shortest span of time. So that they're watching the sun. They're hoping that it comes back. They're doing rituals around this time frame. And the image that they see in the sky right before dawn is this galactic center. And you also have to understand that they didn't have electric light like we do. They literally just observe the stars and the nebula and the clouds. That was their light, and the moon. So imagine a new moon, December solstice, winter solstice, right before dawn, looking east, and you see the galactic center, the Milky Way. This is such a powerful sight. They associated a lot of their mythology and imagery to the galactic center. This was where in the rituals, the shamans would lick the toad, eat the mushrooms, they would go into the trance, into the bliss state, and they would go here. They would go through the portal of this galactic center to meet with the elders and the wisdom keepers and the Akashic records, and they would bring back wisdom. And this was their journey. This was Shibalba. This was the dark road. Okay. So like a chat GPT generated this for me. Isn't this amazing? Yeah, I'm not sold that this is an evil program, because it gave me exactly the imagery, the mental picture that I wanted to convey to all of you. So let's see. The African Wolf is here. Peace to the chat. And John Doe is here. Hello, John. Thanks for coming. All right. So we're this Mayan, and we're sitting here and we're watching this. And every time a solstice comes, a winter solstice, what you're basically seeing is the declination of the sun going down, down, down every day, every month. This would be summer solstice, when the sun is way up here in high in the sky, and then the December solstice would be here in the middle of the spiral. So each month you would take a snapshot of the sky while the sun is in midheaven, and you would see the sun go down, and you would see the sun go back up through the seasons, through the years, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So these points in time, the winter solstice and the summer solstice, when the sun is at its zenith, highest in the sky, and the time when it's highest in the sky during the winter solstice, there's a huge difference. Okay. And they would watch this and they would observe the sun's motions, and they observed a spiral that would expand outward after the winter solstice and then contract inward as we approached the winter solstice. So as we leave the winter solstice, we get to the summer solstice, and then the summer solstice winds down to the winter solstice. Okay. So you see there's a beginning and an end here. So for those of you down under in Australia, New Zealand, and those places, the sun is up here for you because your summer solstice is approaching. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, this is the winter solstice approaching. So we are watching in real time the spiraling contraction of the sun, you guys. Okay, so this was the serpent, this was the snake eating the sun. Okay, this was the spiral of the sun. You see this on a lot of Mayan artwork, Mesoamerican ancient mythology. They reference this image a lot. Here's another way to look at it. This is right from my Ophiuchus slide deck. So this is the sun's path on the summer solstice, and then the path on the equinox, and then the path on the winter solstice. And you're the observer here looking at the stellosphere. And this is where this imagery comes from, the coiling snake. So when it's cold, when it's dark, the snake is coiled up tightly in its spaces, okay? And then as it warms up, the snake uncoils, loosens up a little bit, and allows the energy to flow in. So hopefully you guys understand that concept. This is what the Mayans were watching. These people were not stupid either. They created an entire calendar. There was nothing primitive about their mathematics, about their counting system, or about their ability to watch the heavens and keep track of it. In fact, they knew when certain energies were coming. So imagine you're this Mayan shaman elder, and you have your initiates, your apprentices, and you're teaching them the sky. What you notice over time is that moment of the winter solstice, that moment before dawn, the great mother serpent in the sky, the Shibalba, the galactic rift, the dark road, is approaching the horizon every year, slowly, imperceptibly, over decades. Okay? But they're noticing it because they're keeping track of it. And this was how they were able to develop their long count calendar. So they were able to do these mathematical calculations based on the movements they were observing through generations of records kept by shamans about the movement of the Galactic Center with relationship to the winter solstice sunrise. They were watching this. Okay, does everybody understand what I'm saying? Give me a thumbs up if you understand me. If I don't make sense, just give me a funny face and I will go through this again, because it's really important that you understand that these generations of Mayan shamans were watching the sun pre-dawn, pre-sunrise, December or winter solstice time frame. They were watching the galactic rift go farther and farther down. They were watching another coiling of the snake, so to speak. So let me know if you guys understand all that, if you're still with me. So this is the energy. This shaman says, yeah, my great grandfather saw the rift higher. It was higher in the sky during this dawn. Do you see this, young children? I want you to watch this throughout your life so that you can see the galactic rift falling down, down, down during each winter solstice. So they observed this. They kept records. They kept track of it. And that's exactly what they were predicting for this 2012 timeframe. Do you see how we can't really use tropical astrology and understand this greater cosmic cycle? Because they leave out the Galactic Center. They leave out Ophiuchus. They leave out this higher path, this path of transcendence. Because for them, for this culture, this was the portal in and out. This is also what I teach. This is my hero's journey with this kind of astrology, with constellational astrology. It does not start in Aries. It starts in Scorpio and it goes clockwise and it ends. So it starts and ends at the Milky Way center. It starts and ends at the galactic rift. It starts and ends at the dark road. And I think the way the ancient, why do I care about the Mayans? Well, these beautiful people kept track of the sky. They were star shaman. Their medicine was in the stars. And they predicted a great transformation of the ages that was right now. And you guys, we are on the cusp of this. All right. We are those of you that follow my channel and Athen and Ike and Uma and are doing this kind of astrology. You guys are the very first elders reconnecting with this knowledge. So I want you all to understand that this is really, really important. This time of year is my favorite because I get to talk about this and it's more in context because this is where we're sitting. We're approaching the December solstice as the sun approaches the galactic center. Okay. So there it is. 20 generations later, look, it's further down. My great-great-grandfathers told me of this. And so they're watching it and they're making calculations and they're predicting. So let me pause for a second, collect my thoughts, see what you guys think. How do I stop sharing? There we go. All right. Good. I like the thumbs up. Thank you guys so much. Jesus says, making perfect sense, even to those of us learned in Mayan culture. Good. Diana Allen says, yes. Lady Rock says, according to archaics, they got the year wrong. It ends in 2040. Well, that might even be wrong. Because when you look at the specific degrees where we are now, we have a little bit of ways to go, especially if you understand the rate of procession. And I'm going to go over procession here in just a minute. I just want to make sure everybody was cool, that we were watching the Galactic Center. This is where the sun's approaching, and that over the millennium, we've been watching the winter solstice. Cool. Well, I think Shane, you mentioned controllers. I don't know about controllers. I don't know. I think the less you believe in them, the less they affect you. So what happened in 2012 was that the International Astronomical Boundaries recognized Ophiuchus as one of the ecliptical constellations and said, yeah, in fact, you do have 13 constellations. So that's when this kind of astrology was born and put back into the mainstream. Yes, Laura, you're right. 2040 is when Pluto moves into the actual stars of Aquarius. So, yeah. All right, let's look at this. So, yeah, those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, even though it's summertime, you may still feel this because this is a death, birth, rebirth energy of Scorpio and Ophiuchus. And Sagittarius is rising of the Phoenix. And the sun is not in Sagittarius. I don't feel like I'm a Phoenix rising, not yet. I mean, I have some more work to do. I have some more healing and some inner work I need to do over the next few weeks before I can necessarily claim Sagittarius energy, but it's perfectly appropriate because that's when the sun will be beginning its cycle of expansion, when that snake starts to uncoil for us right after the solstice. Cool. All right. Yeah. So we're connecting the Mayan astronomy and astrology is a really nice background for the kind of the cosmic astrology that we want to be doing, where we're looking at the actual stars. So let's see. Let me do this. Let me get out Stellarium because we're going to look at a sky before we actually look at a chart, but I want to orient you to what we're looking at. I want to show you procession in action. Okay. So what we're going to look at here is year one. This is as far back as Stellarium, the free web app, goes backwards. But I went to year one and I went to the December solstice. And if you guys, let me share my screen if I'm not doing that. I always forget to share. So if we go to year one on the solstice, we see that the sun is actually entering into Capricorn. But this was 2023 years ago. Okay. What does it look like now? So this will be next month on 12/22 of 2024. The sun will be right at the galactic center within just over 3 degrees. Okay. So what's the difference? So the sun moved in a almost retrograde fashion in terms of the larger cosmic cycle over the last 2,000 years. The particular point that we're interested in, which is the winter solstice for the northern hemisphere, this sun, this moment in time aligned with our sun and the tilt of the planet, it was back in Capricorn. Whereas today, it's right here at the rift. So for the Mayans to calculate something like this 4,000 years ago, they got it pretty darn close because it didn't look that much different 12 years ago. Okay, they did predict the coming of a new age, of a new cosmological age, because as the sky drifts because of precession, as cultures move from different parts of the globe, at least in the past, and as we as humans move from the earth to other realms, other planets, our cosmology will change. We are a starward focused collective right now. That's where we're going. The stars are our home. We're just learning lessons here on earth. We're about to go out there. Okay. So we need to be cosmically focused. We need to be looking at the stars. We need to know where we are in relationship to all the other energies around us, not just the solar seasons that are happening on earth, not just the calendar that humans have created for our pleasure. Okay. We need to be feeling into these energies because this is how you connect with source. This is how you connect with the higher vibrations that are available to you. So, all right. So that's the difference. That's what's happened over 2,000 years. The winter solstice has moved, has shifted because the Earth's has a precessional wobble to it. There's a lot of theories on how that happens, but the sky slips. And it's imperceptible. The rate of precession, you guys, is 1 degree every 72 years. That's huge. I mean, that's a huge amount of time that in one lifetime you're really not going to notice it, which is why this is fantastic. This is why my perception of these shaman elders is way more than it used to be. You know, when you grow up and you learn about ancient civilizations, they often teach you that they're tribal and uneducated. But when you think about what they were doing, what they were actually calculating, these people were mathematicians. They were stellar mathematicians. It was the basis of all science. And they predicted this alignment, which we are in the middle of right now. So I think that's the end of the graphics I had. Let's go ahead and watch this in Stellarium because I brought the actual app to the time frame on that picture, and we're going to go really fast through the years, and we're going to watch this drift. We're going to stay right around the December solstice. Here we go. You see that? It's such a slow drift. Watch the sun's position relative to the stars. And that was 1 degree, basically, going from year 1 to year 83. So let's keep going. And I have to move the sky around to keep it on track. But there's another, you see how it's drifting just a little bit to the right? This is a process that happens so slowly over time. And these Mayan astronomers and calendar keepers and shamans perceived this. It's just incredible when you think about it. So here we are, year 400. You know what? I'm going to change the time a little bit so it looks more oriented. There we go. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to get all the way to 2024 because I just want to document this. This is procession in action. So this would be 10 degrees from year 1 when we get to 720. Now you can probably see that movement a little better. It was right here and now it's moved this way. So we're about a third of the way to present time. And we can take this into the future with this app too as well. Right? So hopefully this is making sense for you guys. Because this is the exact reason. This is the precise reason why tropical astrology is not aligned with the cosmos. People ask me that all the time. This is why. Because whenever we started codifying astrology, which is right around here, to the modern day, whatever it is, it still kind of looked like what it does now. But the drift was perceptible enough that the signs are off. Not only that, but the signs aren't aligned to the actual size of the constellations either. So about halfway there. So the very tip of the Sagittarius, this is what the goal is right here. And we are whizzing through the decades, the centuries right now. So you can see how in one lifetime you really can't see this, especially now with the condition that humanity's in. We don't notice these things. We don't look up. We don't care. The stars on our screen have replaced the stars in our sky. Oh, I can show you 2178 because that's when the actual alignment occurs, Darius. So we'll go there if you want to. Let's do it. So we'll keep on going. I'm going to show you on a chart in a minute exactly what this looks like astrologically with some caveats. But so there it is. So now you can rewatch. See, it stays in place when they did this weird time change and realigned our calendars again. And did you guys notice that date? It was early 1900s. Interesting. There was a proposed reset somewhere around here too. So I just find it interesting that the sky locks in place when we get to the modern era. Now you can really see the drift. So here we are. We're getting into the current age. Now let's go forward. 2178. That's when we're exactly aligned with the winter solstice to the galactic center. There's something biblical about this number too. I think you guys need, if you guys follow Archaics, to check his data. But there's definitely something to that date as well. And that's the actual alignment. So, whenever that Mayan calendar ended, I'm going to excuse them for being 3 degrees off from the actual alignment of the galactic center. Okay. I can forgive them. I mean, that's you're calculating 5,000 years into the future. And there is definitely a little bit of wobble inherent in the way everything moves, the way the stellar moves, the way the planets move. It's in the mathematics. You can absolutely see it. So what do you guys think about that so far? I'm getting some crazies and some wows. Yeah, so that's it. So the rest include changes to the musical scale. So, okay. So that's Procession. And so here we are at the precipice of this new age, of this alignment. Let me show you guys in the charts too, because I think this is really where as an astrologer, especially if you are someone that's converting from tropical to constellational astrology, this might be what helps you. Besides all the esoteric spiritual energy about Ophiuchus being left out, also, kind of leaving out the actual spiritual portal for this realm and just saying your story starts at Aries, go and keep doing it over and over and over. And calling Pisces you're basically the end. It's not. Pisces is only the beginning, really. Like you go clockwise from Scorpio to Aries in terms of your journey. And the whole bottom half of the chart is just discovering who you are. And then you get to have an ego death and a dark night of the soul. And then you get to spiritually blossom and level up and evolve. So that's the journey through the constellations. That's the hero's journey. And the part of the sky we're looking at is the beginning and the end of that. So let's do this. Let's get into a chart. I will remember to share my screen. All right. If you guys like this video, if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. All my links are below if you want to work with me or show me some gratitude, whatever you want to do. I have some cool announcements coming up here in the next few weeks. I'm working on some big and amazing projects that I think will be just propelling our community, growing our community. I haven't done this yet, but I'm visualizing it. Actually, one of the things I wanted you guys to talk to me about at the end was the idea of certification. I'm throwing it around my brain. I want to provide a certification for those of you that want to learn this kind of astrology. But I have kind of a old, growing up in the days where letters behind your name were important and things like that. And obviously I worked hard for my MD, and we all work hard for the knowledge that we have. But what does that certification actually mean? Who does it come from? And what does that represent? So I like the idea of it, because then, you can say, yeah, I'm part of this community and I learned from this community, and I have this. But at the same time, there are other astrological organizations out there that, mind you, they teach tropical, that offer very, nice certifications and accreditations. So what I thought I'd do is reach out to those organizations, just show them what I've been doing and say, is there any space in your world for this kind of astrology in your accreditation process? And so I think if they say, no, we don't teach that kind of astrology, or don't even give me an ear or a doorway, then we may have to think of a way to, I don't know, not necessarily codify it or make it more difficult, but just provide some kind of unity, oversight, community for this kind of astrology and this kind of life path. And it's basically a new cosmology, not a religion, not a anything that you have to like abandon your current level of faith, but just something where there's a foundation that all know about. So like these are the basic building blocks of this kind of astrology and cosmology. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you like the idea of certification, if you don't like the idea of certification, if you don't care, if you want to just learn from me and you're just excited about that and you don't care, it would really help me to decide how I want to present the next thing to you guys. Okay. All right, let's look at this. Okay. So this chart is December 22nd of 1573 before the current era. So this is like 3,000 years ago. And it is the winter solstice. So what I want to do with this chart is take you all on a little animated journey. We're going to orient this sun just at the top of the chart, so it looks like what it did in Stellarium when we were watching it. I also want you to notice where the sun is during this solstice. It is in the constellation of Capricorn. Okay, so it's way, way over here. It's even before where tropical astrology says the sun is right now. They're saying the sun's right here at the Galactic Center, which it's not yet. But it was before that time. Okay, so this is right around when the Mayans were writing their data down. And this, let me just rotate the chart a little bit backwards to give you the sunrise that we were looking at the beginning of this conversation. So you're in the middle right here, and you're looking east right before the sun rises. This is the sun, and you see the Galactic Center right here. Okay, so this chart that I'm showing you right now, guys, is a slice through, a two-dimensional slice through that three-dimensional sky that this guy was looking at. Okay, this is right now for him in this chart. Okay, so right before dawn. So let's watch what happens to the chart, because I love that this can go back even further. We're going to go years. Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll go 72 years at a time. Now, don't get disoriented, because what happens when you go, it's like by years, we can do it. By years, the chart flips around. Okay, so don't get disoriented. What we're going to do is just go by 72-year chunks, and we're going to go about 500 years into the future. Note the 7 degrees of Capricorn for the winter sun, just going to go forward a little bit. Let's see. Where's the solstice now? It's at 1 degree of Capricorn. So did you see how it moved? We did 4 clicks and the winter solstice occurred 4 degrees earlier in the cosmos. Okay. So imagine for a moment, you're this Mayan shaman, and as you watch the sunrise on the December solstice, you notice your great dark road, your great Shobaba, the source, is sinking lower and lower and lower in the sky. And it's aligning with the winter solstice, which is when the sun sinks lower and lower in the sky. So they were watching the coming end of an age, a cosmic shift where the sun was disappearing, the Galactic Center was disappearing. They literally saw it. They watched its demise in real time, and they warned us about it by creating this calendar. Okay, so let's go forward a few more years in time. We're going to get to the current era eventually. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's check our sun. Where did it move? Oh, look, now it's in Sagittarius. Okay. So imagine, let's do this exercise one more time. Imagine you're that shaman, and now you can barely see your galactic center because the sun's light is so bright, and it's the winter solstice. It's the shortest day of the year. You're watching the snake coil up to its tightest point. And so those yearly cycles are drifting into this larger cosmic cycle. And folks, we are there. We are in it right now. So we're going to keep moving forward a little bit. We're going to get the sun through Sagittarius. We're now into our current era, right? 59 years, year 0059. This is right around when the current understanding of astrology, the tropical Western 30-degree signs, began to be used. And so that's why we're stuck here. That's why the solstice is still here in Sagittarius. Or actually in Capricorn. I think it's still stuck in Capricorn. So we're moving forward. And now imagine those Mayans aren't around anymore. And their knowledge is gone. Or not gone, but just esoteric and in the ancient literature that nobody cares about. And here's that winter solstice, basically with the Galactic Center rising. Okay. So let's complete our journey. We're going to move up to the current era. And then I'm going to show you some, or talk to you about some Mayan mathematics, which are pretty freaking interesting. And then, I don't know, I don't feel like doing any like, well, maybe we will. We'll do a little bit of energy for this. Let's go. So we're going more and more towards the Galactic Center. Now we're on December 6th. All right, let me fix that. That way we can keep our sun oriented. All right. It was probably that year of confusion that we just glossed over. Anyway, let's keep going. Sun is now right there, close to the Galactic Center. We're now, like in the last few centuries, there's only a couple more degrees for the sun to go. And this is about where we are right now. So let's go back 1 year to right now. Okay, so you can see, I don't know, maybe I can zoom in a little bit. I don't know if this is helpful, but you can see there's about 3 or 4 degrees to go before we're precisely conjunct the point on the chart that is the Galactic Center at 12 degrees Ophiuchus. So when does this actual alignment officially occur? Let's look. We have 4 degrees to go, so let's do 72 times 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it might be a little bit later than 2078. Let's go a little bit further. Let's see. We want it exactly, precisely aligned. might have to go back 72. We might just land there. Yeah, it's pretty close. 78. Still another degree to go. So it might be in, well, astrologically speaking, but when you look at the sun on the stellarium, it's like right there. So they got it pretty good, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't really feel like anyone got it wrong necessarily about when that calendar round, that grand calendar round actually ends. We're in it. We're in the ending of it. And I think and I know it's because of this alignment. So that's that. That's why this is a very special time of year, y'all. I mean, I don't know if I can stress it enough. This is a time of year to observe and understand these cycles, these greater cycles within cycles, and what they mean. Sometimes it helps to look at some of the mathematics with the Mayan calendar. So I thought I would run through that for you guys a little bit. That I don't know. I might need to bring out another presentation. I'll try to keep it as simple as possible, and if I need to repeat it, I can. But it's pretty incredible when you look at it. And then we'll talk about Scorpio season. What are we going to do? Like, okay, so you told me all this about this part of the sky. The sun is there. I'm all down with that rebirth energy. What am I supposed to do? And we'll talk a little bit about that. So, all right, y'all. So I actually used my friend ChatGPT to help me with this too. It's just really been able to help me maximize my time. So whenever I'm thinking about something, I'll just put a comment in there. Also, tell me about this, because this is this, and it'll do it. So I wanted to give you a little bit of history on the Mayan calendar, because these are the people we're talking about. And that book, Mayan Cosmogenesis, y'all, he goes into this big time. But basically, the long count calendar was formalized around 100 years BC. So just because it was formalized and codified doesn't mean that's when it was created. It was being used 2,000 years before that. And it's one of the earliest synthesis of Mesoamerican timekeeping. And they've got 3 separate pieces to it that are part of the bigger whole. So you have a 260-day ritual calendar. Okay, this is associated with the movements of Venus, because the Venus, one part of the Venus cycle, half of the Venus cycle is about that long. So for Venus, from one conjunction to the next conjunction is about 260 days. So they would use that as the ritual calendar. And then there was a 365-day calendar, which was associated obviously with the sun. Okay, so what they did is they put the first one's called the Sulcan and the other one's called the Haab. They put those two together to create the calendar round. And that calendar round created 52 solar years. So in other words, the cycles with the 2 different calendars would repeat themselves every 52 years. Okay, 52. 52 divided by 4 is 13. Okay, what do we have? 13 constellations on the ecliptic. I like 13. We also have 13 lunations every solar cycle about. So the number 13 was also very important to the Mayans. And then the long count was basically 144,000 days. And that equated to 394 years. Okay. The only planet that also has that number 394 associated with it is the planet of Saturn. Okay. If you guys want to see the calculations for that, if you go to Archaics and watch my presentation, History and Astrology Collide or something like that, if you go and watch that, the about maybe an hour and 15 minutes in is that slide. And I talk about the relationships of the orbital cycles of the planets with the fine structure constant, or 138, or the Phoenix number. And then where the pattern breaks is at Saturn. Okay. And Saturn has a 394 number associated when you do the days, okay, of its orbit and its cycle. So I thought that was very interesting. Okay. Because you've got basically 394 years in each Baktun, which is the larger calendar of 144,000 days. That also equates to 52,000-ish lunations, like moon cycles. Okay, so 52 again. And then here's the really interesting one to add on top of the Saturn being the pattern break and having the number 394, which is the amount of years in one back tune. Saturn completes 13.3 orbits in one back tune. Okay. So this is super interesting. I just figured these out today, doing a little bit of math. So I wanted to share that with you and kind of let you know that there's definitely something to this. Okay. And then the last thing that I did with the numbers was I asked how many calendar rounds, between the two smaller calendars, the one that's 52 years where the two meet up. I said, how many calendar rounds fit into 144,000 days? And I got the number 7.59. And then I went ahead and divided the fine structure or multiplied it by 7.59. And I get this crazy number, 181818. So a repeating number. And so I'm not sure what to do with that, but I wanted to share that with you guys because I was doing a little bit of Mayan research and these numbers just spoke to me. So at any rate, there's that. How'd you guys get that? Did you guys get that? Do I need to go over that again? You can rewind this and slow me down if you need to. I just want to make sure that you guys understand those numbers. This is a big time of the year, and it's a good time to revisit these concepts because, number one, we live in cycles. We live in great cycles. Our life's journey is not what we've been programmed to think it is. When we look at the cosmos, it's a completely different journey. It's a journey of surrender. It's a journey of evolution. It's a journey of letting go, of knowing yourself as a creator. Okay, so once you realize that that's your journey, then you begin to make all these connections and you can see how beautiful and magical life is and what this experience really is when you have a higher perspective of it. How's that resonating with everybody? Cool. All right. Nice. Okay, let's see what you guys are thinking about. All right. Let's see. Golden timeline. I just want to learn constellation true sidereal astrology from you for sure, certification or not. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's I think it is important to some people though, like especially if I can get this kind of knowledge through the doors of an accreditation agency, say for example, the American Federation of Astrologers. That group's been around since 1938. If there's somebody in there that I could connect with and talk about what we're doing here, don't you think I could butter them up a little bit? Like, I mean, I'm sure they'd have me do more work or add more to my curriculum to make it, an accreditatable sort of deal. But I don't know. I just think that would be kind of cool. I'll open the door to them. If they don't want to come in, then that's it. We'll figure it out. We won't do a certification. We'll just do a certification of completion, so that if that becomes part of something bigger, or you guys want to be part of something bigger in the future, that will be available. So, okay, cool. All right, let's look at the astrology of Scorpio, and then we'll call it a day. It's a beautiful day here where I live. The weather's perfect. I am probably going to do another live either on Monday or Wednesday. My mom's visiting, so I want to spend time with her, and I do have to work next week, so I don't want to be too out of touch and hanging out with you guys. I mean, she's not here forever, so she's only going to be here for a couple weeks, so I don't know. We'll see. If I get really inspired on Sunday when I'm working, I will, and I have something that I want to share with you on Monday, I will do that. Okay, so let's get to today's chart. And then let's look at Scorpio season and let's talk about how we should manage these next few weeks so that we move through it with grace and we move through it with, soul guided rather than ego guided. Because the ego is going to tell you, yeah, so-and-so got you a gift, so you probably need to go out last minute or order it last minute just to make up for it. The whole idea of gifts for me too is really difficult. I'm like, why? most of the time people don't know what to buy me, and when they do, it may or may not be something I want. And why have all that weird uncomfortableness? Gift cards, I don't use them. I'd rather have an experience or something that I can consume, or something like that for a Christmas present. But just stuff, the meaningless buying of things just because I thought about you. So I don't know. Not by humbug. I mean, Christmas is cool. Anyway, here is the season of Christmas, Thanksgiving, our Northern Hemisphere, holy days. It will last until the 18th. So from the 23rd, which is tomorrow, you see the sun just entered Scorpio right there. We go all the way to Ophiuchus. Now, y'all should know by now, when you look at the sky, these two energies are on top of each other. So you get a little more Scorpio at the beginning and no Scorpio at the end, and a whole bunch of Ophiuchus right at the end here. So you can see this is a death, a rebirth, and then a rising of the Phoenix as we move into Sagittarius. And we're going to have Mercury retrograde during this time frame too. So there it is. Sun aligned with the Galactic Center on the 18th, and then the winter solstice is right here. So we're within 3 degrees of that. All right. So I don't know. This is a very much quiet time. Go inward. Like, if you can turn your thinking brain off, if you can go within the stillness, the void type meditation with Mercury here, it's going to be perfect for that. Because from that space, I always talk about this. It's that dark space after, if you've watched the movie The Never Ending Story, and Fantasia is being consumed by the nothing. And whether or not this is a natural process or a normal process, they blame it on people not having enough imagination. And so it's the whole concept of imagination, the creativity, it's just dying. And so the nothing would kind of roll in like this big ominous cloud of smoke and destroy everything. And throughout the movie, you meet survivors of this nothingness, of this lack of creation. Things are just being destroyed. But somehow the main hero survives, and it's actually a little boy reading the book. And as he gets to the end of the book and Fantasia's completely gone, the only ones left are the boy reading the book, the princess of Fantasia, and one little grain of sand. That's all that's left, is that one spark of divinity. Okay. And that's where that's where Mercury is, spinning around the galactic center. Okay. That one spark of inspiration where, the little boy grabs it, takes it from her, and says, "What do I do with this?" And she says, "You make a wish." And he says, "Cool. How many do I get?" And then she says, "As many as you want. The more you do, the better it is." So he did. He got to ride the luck dragon. He got to take revenge on the bullies. It was great. So this is that energy. We're going through the nothing right now. A lot of things being shed, being let go of. You really have to let go of it. You can't take some kind of trauma from your childhood and bring it through this space. It never survives. It always brings you energy back to you that you don't want to create. So when you can get into that void space and you can grab that one last spark of Fantasia, you can start creating from there. And so I would say it'd be like the snake: coil up, get warm, get cozy, find the people that you love, that you trust, that you can be vulnerable around. Mind your boundaries. Don't say yes to things you really don't want to do. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your energy. It's not worth your soul. It's not worth your time. And what you'll notice if you take a higher perspective is that you can see other people going through it. You can see them having that, grappling with that kind of energy. And you can say, okay, they're probably over programming themselves. They probably just need a little bit of space. If I try to force my issues on them, it's not going to help them either. Remember before you woke up in this time of year when people would add things to you and confront you, you'd get a little shaky, a little frazzled. So it's a good time to step back. It's a good time to smile. It's a good time to be grateful. And that's all I have. So hopefully this helped you. Hopefully you guys understand why I love this kind of astrology, why I'm passionate about teaching it for you. Like I said, if you haven't had this kind of reading, you don't know what you're missing. It's amazing. If you don't want to get it from me, get it from somebody. But all my links are below. I'll see you guys over in the Fellowship of 13 Signs. Like the video if you love it. Subscribe if you're lurking. And I'll see you all next week. Namaste.